So I wanted to tell you a story about another song. Um, and the story starts at a Grateful Dead concert in Springfield, Massachusetts, sometime in the early '80s. I went to the concert with the woman I was living with at the time, who, for the purpose of the story, will be called Fred. Fred and I stayed overnight in Springfield. This is a whole backstory. The whole day was interesting in itself. But so just the story of the Ballad of Silvio. We were hitchhiking back and standing underneath a billboard near the Mass Pike on ramp because we were hitchhiking back to Boston, and there was a billboard for Silvio Conti, the incumbent for the U.S. House, long time representative from that district to the U.S. House. So I said Silvio and Silvio, and we started playing with the phrase, and the first thing that came to my mind was Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and the song that Burl Ives sings, Silver and Gold. So it's Silvio, Silver and Gold, and then Fred and I discussed Silver and Gold and yeah, and money, and so we came up with the idea of won't buy back the beat of a heart grown cold, because it's like money can't buy you love and money won't bring you back from the dead. And then so we had that part, and that was just waiting for a ride. And I worked on it some. I came up with a couple other verses, and I used to busk in Harvard Square, directly off of Harvard Square, in a park called Winthrop Park, which is down JFK, right by Grundle's Den. I don't know if Grundle's Den is still there. Um, there's a long time eatery in the Harvard Square area. So I used to busk in there, and in that park, and so one day I was singing Silvio, and what I had was I had two verses, and I had the chorus, most of the chorus except for the last line. Find out something only dead men know. This guy came up while I was singing it and asked me questions about it, and he was kind of annoying, and I just wanted him to go away. And he said, I got done singing Silvio, and I like I had a stick. I'd sing "Friend of the Devil." John Prine, "Illegal Smile." Yeah, that was in my playlist. So yeah, uh, and I didn't recognize him as being anybody. And he finally went away. He did it. He asked me if he could sing the song, and what I remember saying to him is that this is Woody Guthrie copyrights. I wrote the song because I wanted to write it. I sang it because I wanted to sing it. If you want to sing it, go ahead and sing it. So I got done, and I packed up Fred's. It was actually Fred's mother's Gibson J45 in the case, and headed down towards Elliott Street on the bus station. Went into Charlie's Kitchen to have a couple of beers, and this guy shows up again. He's like down at the catty corner end of the bar there, and he's trying to strike up a conversation with me, and I'm trying to ignore him. And he finally engages me in conversation. We start talking about the song. He asked me what the lyrics of the song were. And, I said, "Were you the guy that was singing it?" I said, "Yeah, I was the guy that was singing it." And what are the lyrics of the song? I told him the lyrics of the song. And he said, "Well, what's the end of the chorus?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. I haven't quite worked that out." And I said, "I don't know. Like, I looked over at a cocktail table and in Charlie's Kitchen, and B.F. Skinner was sitting there with a plaid jacket on. He was famous for wearing ugly plaid jackets. There was a movie called Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid out at the time, and I looked at B.F. Skinner and I looked back at the guy at the end of the bar, and I said, "Find out something only dead men know." Um, so it's probably the most interesting anecdote, other than the fact that I didn't recognize this guy the whole time I was talking to him, until I did recognize him, and I turned and I looked at him, and I was forming the consonant ba, like Bob, like I was going to say Bob Dylan. And as soon as I said ba, he jumped out of his stool and he ran to the door. And he was out on Elliott Street. I went out after him. I could not see where this guy went. And, and I wish Fred would talk to me because I know that I went home and I was like, I met Bob Dylan at a bar. It's like, like she's like, yeah, sure. Unfortunately, Fred hates me now and won't talk to me anymore. So I have absolutely no proof that this happened, other than I remember it, and you know, it's my story. It's the truth, and I'm sticking to it.